Waycross presents an election forum for Hamilton County Recorder. There are two individuals running for this office. They are, in alphabetical order, Wayne Coates and Norbert A. Nadel. This for Hamilton County Recorder. I'm Jason Grzgorek, Waycross Community Media's Government Access Coordinator, host, and moderator for this evening. I'm fortunate to have with me Wayne Coates, who is joining us this evening for tonight's forum. Wayne, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. Good to be here.
Mr. Nadel has been notified of tonight's event. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, he will not be able to join us this evening. So tonight's event will be held with Mr. Coates this evening. In a moment, I will open up to a 2-minute opening statement from Mr. Coates. At that point, I will then open up the emails and phone calls to you, the voting audience at home. And at that point, all questions are open to Mr. Coates. So at this point, Mr. Coates, 2 minutes to you.
Thank you, Jason. And again, thanks, Waycross, for holding the forum this evening. And also, I want to thank the voters of Hamilton County for allowing me to be their county recorder for the last 8 years. In the last 8 years, we have moved the office forward in a lot of technology, but also in doing so, we have created a virtual library that we're trying to do digitally so that people do not have to come down to our office. Since I became a recorder, we have put over 22 million images online, and that's been rather interesting since we went from a $2.2 million budget to a $1.1 million operating budget. Again, it's just an opportunity to continue the process. People ask me why I want to run again. The job's not done. We still need to do a lot more, and I'm looking forward to doing that for the people of Hamilton County.
At this point, Mr. Coates' opening statement has been finished, and I will open up the phone lines and emails to you. If you are watching us today on September 28th, please join in on this democratic process. 825-3971 is our phone number. Live at waycross.org is our email. All questions will be answered tonight. Please, no pointed questions, and if you are calling, please talk to our phone handler by giving them your name and the idea of the question in which you're asking. So, since it is Mr. Coates only this evening, there will be no time constraint on your question until I tell you otherwise. So, Mr. Coates, let's start off with the infamous stepping stone question. The top 3 issues you feel that are facing the recorder's office going forward, as you were saying, moving that office forward.
Well, it's always a budgetary constraints. That's always the number one, because the commissioners, they approve my budget. This last year, we took a $40,000 hit on top of all the other cuts that we've done in the prior years. So again, when we go into this year, that we always look at what's the budget constraints again. We do not have our final number. We made our process available to the commissioners last week, and we'll have to wait a month in order to find out what's going to happen. The other thing is what we're doing, number 2, is back scanning. What we're trying to do is take the digital record back. Currently, our records go from 88 forward. What we have been doing is back scanning the roll films from 87 back to 1970, and we just finished processing those and digitizing those. We still have to redact those information before we can put them out on the web. But again, it's the ongoing back scanning so we can fill the void, because most title exams are done in a 40-year search on residential. The third thing would be is that, again, trying to create that virtual library, but in that process is that we also have to keep our technology moving forward. Just currently, we found that with all the changes from our Java image viewer, that with Chrome or with the Internet Explorer or Firefox, sometimes there's a problems viewing the images. So what I have done in the last couple of weeks is to sign a contract to convert all those millions of TIFF images over to PDF so that they will be able to be viewed on whosever platform you look at. So again, those are really the top 3. All
right. Looking at what you've said, I mean, I will definitely go to the main one, which is always the budget. Budget is always the tight screw in the entire wheelhouse. As you have seen in your past 8 years, what makes the budget easy for you to balance, or has it become more difficult as years have gone on?
Well, again, when you keep having money taken away and taken away and taken away, you have to be very creative of how you manage the money. A lot of times it's the flexibility. You know, if we have circumstances that come up, it could be that somebody takes a medical leave of absence and runs out of time, so therefore we don't have to pay them anymore. So if we are cut in the salary end of it, we can make it up in that area. This last year, they zeroed me out on the postage. I don't understand that, but they did. But we still make it up because we take money in enough to pay for that postage. So, you know, and again, also in that same media is that we take and have people send in with their recordings self-addressed return envelopes that are always postage on it. So again, you try to be creative in order to make it work.
Creativity, I like to hear that coming from public office. It's something that you don't hear a lot of. What makes you think outside of the box, other than maybe budgetary constraints, but obviously what are those driving factors to make you do so?
Well, I'm very fortunate because, again, part of the law for the recorder is that we have to take so many hours of continuing education a year. And in doing so, I've attended many of the programs and seminars that give state-of-the-art ideas and technology. A case in point, where we used to hand stamp the documents book and page. Now we can do that automatically through by a software that can read the barcode and then puts a digital image on the documents as we scan them in. So again, it's through technology and going through the various seminars that I go through in order to be able to learn about the new technology and stay at the cutting edge.
I just received an email from Brian from Green Hills, and his email asks, what do you consider your greatest accomplishments as recorder over the last 8 years?
Well, quite honestly, thank you, Brian, for that question. You know, that's a very difficult question to answer because in 8 years we have done so many things to move the office forward. Whether it's been redacting the first 18 million images in order to put them online, or whether it's to update the cashiering system that was antiquated from 2004, or is it moving the office a little bit closer to setting up a hot site so that if something happens to the servers in our office area, that we have another set of servers that have the same information on a remote location. Those are just a few of the things that we've done, but it's kind of like a scenic river ride in a sense, because you know you start and then you go down, and by the time you get down to the end, you look back and go, I don't recall all the scenery, but I enjoyed the trip.
Thank you, Wayne, and also thank you, Brian, for joining in. If you are watching or are watching either way, online or on cable tonight, please join in 825-3971 live at waycross.org. You can see how easy it is to get your question answered here tonight. One of the things that you were talking about earlier was, of course, budget and what's been taken away and what's been given. Sometimes it's more take than give. A lot of times, technology takes a lot of cash flow.
Yes.
Do you find that technology has been a help or a hindrance when it comes to trying to work with the budget and trying to make things right? Because obviously you're looking forward in the recorder's office.
Well, one of the things I discovered when I first came on board is that the state had allowed the commissioners to approve up to $7 per document charge to go into an IT fund for technology upgrades. I had asked the commissioners on 3 different years that I would like to have it, and each year I got turned down. Finally, I had a discussion with the legislature. As you know, I'm a former legislator, so I had a conversation, and they changed the little word from shall approve to, or I should say from may approve to shall approve, and then what they did is put a minimum of $3. So in the last 2 years, I have been able to get $3 out of every document in order to pay for that IT funds, which pays also for 2 of my IT employees. So when they give you in one area, they took away in the other area. So, it's kind of like a little shell game, but this last conversation I had with the commissioners, because our document count has been down, we have asked for another 50 cents so that we can make up the shortfall, because I have a consultant contract that's about $49,000, and we have a one-off system that only he knows about, and he's only charging me $110 an hour to work on it.
We have seen many different forms of collaboration throughout the state and the county, as well as local government. Do you find that it is something that the Recorder's Office is easily embracing? And if so, how is that going about in today's Recorder's Office?
Well, actually, we've been collaborating a lot with the various offices. I take for point that actually one of the things I forgot to mention is that we've put over 30,000 subdivision condominium plats online as well. They don't have to be redacted because there are no Social Security numbers. But in doing so, what we were able to do was to work with the county engineer. He has a flatbed scanner. We took the plats upstairs for the last 2 years, and we spent 2 hours every morning to take and scan those documents. And then once we got them digitized, we released those out on the web, as well as we gave the copy to the engineer. On our roll film, when our film machine broke, what we ended up doing is worked with the probate court in order to have them do our microfiche. So we were able to do that. Now, when Judge Winkler came in, he discontinued that, and now what I do is I piggyback my film with the auditor so that that film goes into that his storage, and then it's stored off-site. So that's just a couple things. And of course, I've worked with the Jobs and Family Services. Since we started e-recording, I worked with them in order to get them on board, because of all the child support liens and releases that come through our office, those are done at no charge because that's the state law. But what we've been able to do is get them on board to do it electronically, so we don't have to do so much handling of those documents as far as scanning them and processing them and everything like that, because once we have them in the e-recording, we can just take and approve them, and then they go right digitally into our system.
Were we to sit in front of one another 4 years from now, what do you see the office to look like?
Well, since they're not moving to the Mount Airy campus, I say we're still in 138 East Court Street and still be on the second floor. What I would see is that we have moved the ball a little bit further down the road, and that is that we will have finished the 40-year search, and then what we'll do is start going back from there. One of the things we have done in the last few years is we worked with the family search people to take and digitize our records from 1797 all the way up to 1938. So, and that information is now online as well. We stopped at 38 because family search did not want to pay for the redacting, and that's when the Social Security numbers came on board. So again, it's filling in that digital library and making it's like going to the library and having all the books, but this way you'll have the images. You don't have to have a large volume of space. All you need is to have your laptop in front of you. And actually what we're also doing right now is working on PDAs, where you can actually do them on PDAs.
You had made mention, obviously, you do not believe that you'll be leaving the courthouse area, the Court Street area, which at least we all know where will be located. However, times are changing. We've talked a lot about technology. Do you feel that the office will become a virtual digital realm at some point where there may not be a lot of human activity, or do you believe that there will still always be that human connectivity between you as the recorder or those who are running for recorder and the constituents of Hamilton County?
That was a similar question I was asked as a real estate broker, and I said, well, you still had to have somebody turn the key and open the door. The thing is as we see it, is that yes, we are developing the virtual library, but we still have over 100 title examiners that use our site, and they come in there and they use the site. The difference is that instead of having to look through the roll film through a reader viewer, we will be able to do it digitally. because the thing is I can buy a CPU, a monitor, and a printer for less than $1,500. It cost me almost $15,000 to get a printer and a reader viewer. So again, and I will tell you also, having done these first from 87 back to 70, I can tell you that those images are excessively better than the roll film because we have been able to process them, and through the digitalization, we have been able to clean up a lot of the images, and those images are better to view. And matter of fact, a lot of the title examiners are really great that we've done it.
Obviously, we've talked a little bit about collaboration, and obviously some of it also goes to a little bit of your background with real estate. Where do you see that collaboration continuing even more?
In which way?
Well, we've talked about how they're using a lot of your records. Obviously, they need to do that. And also your records are very historic in nature. Do you think there is some other means of collaboration that may go beyond, again, that idea of thinking outside of the box?
Well, what I do already is that I do classes down at the Board of Realtors, and to explain how our office runs, but also how to do the searches. Just a few weeks ago, we took 5 random properties that we picked out of the multiple listing system and said, okay, where's the mortgage? Where's the deed? And we went through the scenario of each one and showing how to get those. So again, that type of collaboration. I know as a real estate broker, I used to pay $25 to have the title examiner go downtown and make me a copy. Now they can do it in their office.
Of course, we're getting down to the bottom of our half hour here, so I want to be able to give you some time for a closing statement. So I'm going to ask a few of the closing questions here. So what makes you the best candidate out there for the recorder's office?
Well, I think my 8 years of experience in the recorder's office is probably the number one, but also knowing that I have a vision for the future and where I want to take the office. You've seen the trail that we've already done and that we've already blazed, taken from the last 8 years. But again, the job's not done. You know, we still have a lot more to do, but having the working knowledge of where we come from and where we're at and where we want to go, I'm the guy.
And with that, I will leave it to you to have a closing statement if you so choose.
How much time?
You have. I can give you 2 minutes, Mr. Coates. 2 minutes.
I won't need that much. Thank you, Jason. Actually, I just want to thank the citizens and the voters of Hamilton County to give me the opportunity to be their county recorder this last 8 years. It's been a true pleasure. I've enjoyed every day. I'm a full-time county recorder. You know, if I'm not there, it's usually because I'm at one of those educational forums. Because again, that's how I learned the job. Is when I first came on board, we went around to the surrounding counties and see what systems everybody had and see what ours lacked. And what we did is build from there, and we're still building on that. And I look forward to being part of that future and part of the legacy that we're leaving to build that virtual library. Thank you, Jason.
Wonderful.
And thank you, Waycross.
Mr. Coates, thank you so much for joining us. I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I also want to thank all of you for joining us as well. We've given you the information as well as the opportunity to listen to the candidates that are available for this office. Now it is your turn. If you need more information in regards to any of the upcoming elections, you can always watch or listen to any of our election forums that are still going on throughout the entire election season up till November. Until then, you can also check out the Hamilton County Board of Elections website at votehamiltoncounty.org. There you will get all the information so that you can be ready for November 8th. Early voting also begins on October 7th, if that is an option for you. We've given you the important part. Now it's the important part is left up to you, and that is to make an informed decision on November 8th. Thank you, and have a great evening. Waycross takes no position on candidates or issues. We do these forums so that our residents may be better informed voters for the November 8th election.